The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce over 8 new characters in this story by director J.J. Abrams that'll be used in a way in order to benefit many of the characters such as Kylo Ren and Rey in Episode 9. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So what's really great about this film is that we do know that these new characters such as the Dark Acolyte and even other characters that will have a lot of interactions with some of the other heroes like Poe, Finn, Leia, Lando, you name it, they're all going to be used in order to evolve the characters in this story, which is going to be a very interesting thing, how the Dark Acolyte is going to be used with both Kylo Ren and Rey. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, shot descriptions consisting of both Kylo Ren and Rey facing the new villain known as the Dark Acolyte, where it's described that both Rey and Kylo Ren have their lightsabers ignited and are both in a defensive stance and ready to attack. It said that the Dark Acolyte threw his single-bladed lightsaber and throws it like a boomerang toward Kylo Ren, where it's said to include a slow-motion sequence where Kylo dodges the saber throw where it cuts a part of his cape off as it blows into the ocean. The next describes the saber coming back behind both Kylo and Rey, where Kylo now grabs Rey's back and tells her to duck. This is where the saber lands back into the hands of the Acolyte, where it's said that he begins to laugh just like Darth Sidious, to where it leads to when the Acolyte dashes toward Kylo and Rey and begins to fight them in a lightsaber duel. Another one of which goes over a moment between both Kylo Ren and Rey in their duel, where the Acolyte is described to create a shockwave of energy that has a blue hue of some kind, where both Kylo and Rey fly backwards and aim toward falling off of the wreckage that they are standing on. This is where the Acolyte reveals to Kylo and Rey that he knows the spiritual realm and that the power that it offers, which is said to be the setup of Palpatine's reveal within the Acolyte's body. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this because this is something truly amazing. Now, this was lightly introduced in the last comic of Darth Vader in 2018. I don't know if you guys saw, but we got a little glimpse into the spiritual realm within the Star Wars franchise. And now this is going to be somewhat lectured by this new character to Kylo Ren and is going to be fully explained about the spiritual realm, and that this is going to be the setup of Darth Sidious and his return, and in the form of the spirit of Sidious within the Dark Acolyte. So, this whole entire sequence is said to take place during the third act of the film on top of a piece of wreckage. It's been heavily implied and or hinted before in the past that this takes place on board of the Death Star 2 wreckage in the middle of the ocean of whatever world this really is. So what's really intriguing about this is that this is the setup to everything related to Kylo Ren and Rey discovering that this new villain is not just a new villain, but is also the character of Darth Sidious himself as one. Now, what I like about this is that this is the exact point in time in the Star Wars franchise in which they will be introducing new force powers. So one of which involves the Dark Acolyte creating a large shockwave that is said to be in a blue hue, that is said to originate from the origins of the dark side. Whatever power this really is, it's said to not just be a force repulse technique, however something completely different. Now, this is actually said to create both a moment in which Kylo Ren and Rey are flown backwards and almost fall off of the wreckage into the ocean. So, what I like about this is that this somewhat reminds me of, yes, the Force Repulse technique, except you get to visually see the actual shockwave in the form of an orb, from what's being explained, that's created by the Dark Acolyte. Now, this Dark Acolyte is described to be the strongest foe in the Star Wars franchise yet, because not only is he a brand new villain, but the spirit of Sidious is also going to be affiliated with this new character. So it's kind of like combining those two powers into one. And I think it's going to be very intriguing to see exactly how JJ is going to be able to pull this off. After all, we do know that this movie really is going to be a big movie and full of revelations, twists, and turns, in order to really give the fans a lot of payoff for the end of the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. So, the other point that I want to go over is how Palpatine, alright, we do know that he's going to have a big reveal at some point in time in the third act of the film. Now, the other piece that really does intrigue me is the slow motion sequence, where he throws his lightsaber like a boomerang toward Kylo Ren, where Kylo dodges it in slow motion, where it's described to cut half of his cape off, where it blows away into the wind and into the ocean. This is where the boomerang lightsaber technique comes around and almost hits Rey, where Kylo Ren tells her to duck. So you can see how both Kylo and Rey are teaming up to take on this new threat, and honestly guys, I love this. I love how the Dark Acolyte is basically being used as a tool in the plot to force the interactions and to force the alliance between both Rey and Kylo Ren to go up against this new threat. It's going to be very intriguing to see how this is all going to be used in the actual movie itself. Anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.